ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised.
Billions of people just living out their lives, oblivious. Choice is an illusion created between those with power and those without.
I drink your milkshake. I drink it up.
Thank you, John Larson. I receive your kind words on behalf of all of our courageous members of the House of Representatives who want the best for the American people. And what we can do that is best for them in the next 24 hours is to pass affordable, accessible health care for all Americans. The best for all Americans is to have 32 million more people to have health insurance in our country. The best for...
Piece of stinking filth.
Shh, say it again, Shal. This is AJ of the InfoWars. Listen to the Shaliak. This is Alex Jones of InfoWars. Listen to Shaliak on the Cold Reality News and Report.
This is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Well, hello there.
Trip to the Middle East turning out to be more of a unveiling of where his true allegiances lie. Russia leaks from within the West Wing. Obama doing his post-presidency gallop around the world, collecting money and more undue praise. Trump says, I will make my decision on the climate bullshit next week. Watch him cave on that as well. Let's focus on what he's done already, right? Let's focus on what he's done. Third Naval Force or strike force deployed to deter North Korea. Jeff Bezos' fortune soars to $84.7 billion. Welcome to Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV Broadcasting Network. I'll be your host for the next 2 hours. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. I got issues with this, as with last week. Anyway, trying to get my levels so that I can even hear myself. Is this thing on? Anyway, as I said, it's Memorial Day weekend, where we not so much memorialize the people that have fought and died for the country, have been duped into fighting for the country by the elite banking families that control all of the countries and their politicians, from World War I to World War II, and then, of course, soon to be World War III, Korea, Vietnam. And they're actually now, yesterday, they're finding ways to, through DNA, to be able to find soldiers' remains that were never, they were dead, or they were thought to be dead, but never, bodies never found, shipped back. And now they're actually doing that. So that's awesome, right? And so it not so much memorializes the people that fought, because it is really a tool to get more people to join the military. You can see it. Fox News engages in it every I mean, not even just on Memorial Day. They engage on it They engage in it every year. So let's see here. So it's about war. It's about memorializing war. And for the elite, it's about creating more of the depopulation and, killing more of each side, because each side is really, truly in on it. It's about, and my father fought in World War II. 3 first wave invasions, came back. His voice talking may never have been. So I recognize that very, very strong reality that, I am part of this history. I am part of this destructive lie that war is. Father was thrown out of a Jeep, broke his hip up pretty bad. They didn't do too much other than just put a cast on it, and then it healed rather awkwardly. Calcium deposit, the body has its ways of healing itself, of reconstructing itself, or stabilizing itself. There are all these magical things that happen in the body that we never hear about from medicine, from the American Murder Association. We never hear about these fantastical things that the body can do to heal itself. It's always got to be a drug. It's always got to be some kind of procedure. that puts us back together and makes us, because the body can't, the body just is stupid. It doesn't, 80 to 85% of our DNA is just junk DNA. It's absolute garbage and trash. We don't really even need to know any more of it. That's what they say. That's what they say. And because ultimately, again, I hate to beat a dead horse, but this is about just grand deception, deceiving. From deceiving you about spirituality, clumping people together as Catholics or clumping people together as Jews and lying to them that they're something that they're not. Lying to the Catholics, saying that they are that they should worship this and worship that, and look at the Vatican and think that it's some kind of holy place. And then the only holes that they're fucking thinking about over there is the little boys and little girls. Lives that they can destroy. Well, I guess they don't even think about the lives that they're destroying. They just do whatever it is that they do. So we're deceived about spirituality. We're lied to about atrocities so that things can be obtained. Never let a good crisis go to waste. That type of thing. That type of shit that we hear all the time. Never let a good crisis go to waste. Never let that happen. Never let that crisis go. Because they can manipulate and get us right where they want us. They can pit one group against the other. They can grab a reality television star and make him a United States president, when in fact he was related to Hillary and most likely related to many others that make up the district of corruption, where all of this theft and degeneracy and just some of the worst shit that you can even imagine. How they cover up the pedophilia and all of the it's not just going on at the Vatican. I mean, they are taking children, turning them into sexual objects, and they're shipping them around to the highest bidders, or for people that they just overall just want to shut up and say, well, this guy knows a lot. Let's get this person in the prone position and make sure that they don't speak. But we're here and we're expected to memorialize. We're memorializing war. We're not really memorializing the people that fought it, even though that's what it looks like. It's there as a buffer. It's there as a buffer between the plebes finding out, and ultimately, deception and lies, deceit cannot go on for a long time, because people figure shit out, and lies and deception they have a lifespan. So along with that. Along with those lies, they look at us as the enemy. They look at us as a force to be reckoned with. So that's why they create the the concentration camps known as as schools, and then when you graduate and then you move forward, you get into these universities because everybody needs the education, and the money's just really going back to the families, going back to the organizations that have proliferated throughout history. All these organizations that might have started off as right and just, but then have been used and then ultimately turned into just a piece of the corrupted puzzle and the image of America. The universities that are teaching just absolute awfulness, bullshit, intolerance, everything. And of course, intolerance, or their form of tolerance, is basically just intolerance, right? Nobody wants to let anybody speak because then they'll find out. Nobody wants any of the so-called Milos and the Ann Coulters and the Gavin McGinnises and all these guys. They don't want them to talk because then you'll find out. And then most of these people don't even know who they are. They don't know. They're just moving on instinct. They're going to school. They're seeing all these things happen. They listen to this deterioration of news. This ABC, CBS, all these garbage, all these organizations putting out garbage programming, garbage television shows. And then, of course, they give you the news, and it's just entertainment. It's just, every now and then, well, at least once or twice a week, there's a squirrel fucking water skiing, or oh, look, it's a baseball game, and there's a squirrel running on the field. Oh, look, it's so cute to see. They're just catering to the childlike fucking mindset, the childlike commoners that this system has created. From the toys to the cars to the and there are a lot of fantastical things out there. There is technology that people, as a young person, you grow up and like, wow, that's cool. Oh wow, look, that's, oh man, wow. But at the same time, you're getting, this is someone else's creation. You're never going to participate in this. You're never really truly going to participate or have the wealth or the opportunities to be able to get involved in their creation. The most that anyone's going to be able to do is get indoctrinated in these fucking schools by these fucking teachers that repeat someone else's bullshit. And then go out there, get some kind of job, go to some school, and think that this is the greatest thing that ever was. And the sadness is that most will never ever get to experience the truth. They deify some of the worst people in this fake, augmented, corrupted artifice. Lawyers. Oh, she's a lawyer. She's starting to be a doctor. You're just tools. You're just all fucking tools that are used to chew away, rip away at the carcass of this great corporation. And like other empires in the past, this is going to fall. The pieces of the puzzle, the steps, the propaganda, everything is in place to bring this down, to divide people into violence. We've seen it. We saw the violence during the presidential run, you know, the whole movie where Trump's like, get him out of here, and blah, 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 and this one's fighting against that one's fighting against this one. Women are lied to and said, we're going to, you know, women are nurturers. But the system is kind of turned a decent percentage of them into well, I'll just kill this thing. I'll just kill this life. I'll just take this life. Now, hey, I'm not judge anybody. You do whatever the fuck you want to do. It's those people that are saying, oh, we're here to help you. We're here to do this. We're here to do that for you. Those are the scumbags that I care about. If somebody gets into a pinch or a bind, do whatever you got to do. It's your life. You're either going to not ever regret it, or you will regret it, or whatever. I don't give a fuck what you do. I don't give a shit, and most people don't give a shit what you do with your bodies. Men and women alike, do whatever the fuck you want to do. But 10, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years later, believe me, in retrospect, you're going to be like, well, that was a pretty fucked up thing. And then you just have to live with it. Or maybe you won't think it's a fucked up thing. Maybe you'll, go into government and kill more children. Or you'll go and you'll enable the enabler. That's what government is, the enabler, the divider. Even with the woman who was recorded at that dining table setting where she's like, yeah, I got a Lamborghini because I blah, 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 or I got this because of that. I mean, it's pretty, when people, they get you to participate in this artifice. They get you to participate in this fraudulent, fake, disgusting reality, and then you become part of the disease. And I guess when they say repent, okay, a lot of people take that, repent. A lot of people think that God's going to judge you. Well, yeah, you're going to be, whatever it is that you do, if it's unnatural, it's going to destroy you. If you have a conscience. But I think they're moving away from that. They're moving away. They're making people, something other than human. You got these people that have no empathy. It said something about acetaminophen or like Tylenol, making people not care. And I can understand. Patrick Jordan just put out I'm going to try to get Pat in with us. I spoke with him, or I emailed back. But actually, I should try to get him on today. I always just feel like when I have Pat on, I mean, he's just so like got his finger on the pulse of everything. He's just so brilliant, like Clint. Just these minds that that function. Most of the time, I don't think. That I'm functioning in the right sense. I do this because it's kind of just the right thing to do. I've had people say to me as recently as the last 72 hours, yeah, I believe what you're saying. I believe that but what can you do about it? And that's a good point, but at the same time, it's just a really good way of them being on, like power levels is one, and then saying to you, like, what can you do about it? So then you become trying to get you to not care as much as they don't care. And then, it's not about not caring. It's just, what can you do? And so it's just like, yeah, I mean, it's the same thing as saying is like, if you know something that you're eating is killing you, and you know that all you have to do is stop eating that particular thing, just stop eating it. Just stop eating the shit sandwich that this entire system is. And people just love to eat shit. Sprinkle a little bit of fucking syrup on it. I don't know. Toys and all of the accoutrements, what do they call them? The ketchups, the condiments of life. And people just love to eat their shit. Everybody just seems to believe that this is just legitimate. Everything about it is just legitimate. There's always an opportunity for people to do this or to be this or that. And yeah, that is there too, because if they didn't give these opportunities, if they didn't create a system that had opportunities, they'd have a bunch of people just waiting to fuck them inside out. You think if we didn't have, if we get to the point where there's, like 50, 60% unemployment, and Mark Zuckerberg talking about, a national like income for people, because that's what they're kind of doing now, because they know that. And this happened over in, they were talking about testing this over in Sweden or one of these other countries. Like an income where people just get a certain amount of money to live on. Why? Because there's probably not going to be jobs. So they have to figure out a way to control most people while they're mentally castrating them. Have to figure out a way. So we heard, if you're paying attention, we heard that they were trying to talk about this income where you just get this amount of money. The government just gives you, your masters, your leaders, your misleaders give you money, and you have to, like your credits, like your carbon credits and all these other things that all these countries are trying to push. The world government trying to push this at the G7. And then, like Trump said, I'm going to decide next week what to do. Huh. Oh, really? You're going to decide? Yeah. And Zuckerberg talking about all of these things that they want to do with this national income. Again, because they know that there's not going to be a lot of jobs. So people are going to have to do whatever it is that they have to do, and there'll be the government right there. The government will be there to help you live. And then, of course, in order to get this, you're going to have to get, forced vaccinations, forced this, forced that, forced everything. You're going to have to participate to get your money, because otherwise that you won't eat. In a world of abundance, in a world where technology is expanding and doing all these incredible, fantastical things, we are going to slip into shit, because they cannot empower Mankind cannot be empowered, because as we get into this age of enlightenment, which, you know, that we are. I mean, look at, again, I go back to Clint, I go back to Patrick, and there's a lot of, you wouldn't know it, but there's a lot of Clints and a lot of Patricks out there that, despite of all of the monkey wrenches, have still been able to figure out how the system goes. And Clint still just gets beaten up on a daily basis by people who still don't understand, still don't get it. Because they don't, they can accept the fact that they've been deceived one time or two times by this fraudulent system, but there's no way that you know, what you're saying, these multiple levels of deception, the deception of God, and the you know, there's no way. There's just no way. And so, of course, the messenger gets attacked. The messenger gets attacked. And we truly have fallen so far. If there is a creator, yeah, and I believe that there kind of is. Whereas in the liberal universities and colleges, it's all about evolution. You're a mistake. You're an accident. The Big Bang. Somebody's getting fucked, and it was the Big Bang theory, you know. And then, of course, they made it into a television show with all these fucking nerdy fucks and one hot blonde. And it's so funny. When's Neil deGrasse Tyson gonna be on? Yeah, listen to him. Don't you science, bro? Don't you science, bro? Just an absolute artifice of bullshit. Just garbage. Just absolute shit. And of course, they've pretty much put the future together for you. They put it in front of you all the time in movies. Minority Report, Pre-Crime, Divergent. I talked about that, you know, and that's the thing. You know, a lot of people, and of course, said it was, oh, that movie was awful. And I brought up, you know, Maze Runner. I know people watch that, Maze Runner. There was a second one, soon to be a third one. But it really is truly about a future, a dystopic future where, you know, post, you know, apocalyptic, some kind of this, some kind of that. You got your Hunger Games, which is already pretty much what the UN has in design. But they're getting the young people prepared for the Katnisses and all that. Oh, it's going to be, that's right. They don't even think, oh, that's awful. These kids, they fucking kill each other. And then there's only like one, and in Hunger Games case, two left to make it interesting. And then they look at, you know, they don't look at the people being used as weapons against each other to be able to win the Hunger Games. So it goes on every year. 20 plus some die. Movie, but truly a very, very good example of where we are going. And then, of course, with the Divergent series, with the different people categorized, the Divergent one, the lovely actress playing the Divergent, dangerous to society because she has all of these pieces of herself that can be very, very dangerous to a system that's trying to put people into small groups where they can't do that with the Divergent. And of course, the ones that are outside that ability to put them in groups, then they're on the outskirts. They're the ones that live in exile. So if you haven't watched that, check it out. It's a little hokey, and of course the Hollywood aspects of it, but they're basically telling you what they're going to do to you, or what your future is going to be, because they can't allow you to have what they have. You've never been equal to them. You never will be equal to them. And they will take from you what they see fit. They will create this artificial system of legality where they will throw people into jail to make money. They will create they will make commerce. They will take, again, everything from you, while still having you believe that you've got something, that you've accomplished something here. Meanwhile, all their family members are making loot, and you're struggling week to week to save their money. And unfortunately, bringing everyone back into the stock market, getting everybody, telling people that everything's getting back to where we're going to make this, we're going to do this, get your money into the stock market. This is a good stock, that's a good stock, and then the bottom falls out. You lose everything. And then phase 3, or whatever phase we're in, I want to say we're probably in between 3 and 4. Where the economy is going to bottom out, and then they get to make the new rules. They destroyed the economy, and they get to make the rules and or the solution to the problem. And where's God? Where's Jesus? Guess what? You have to play that role. There ain't no second coming. Just more that was written into the deception. You either figure it out, like Clint has hours and hours and hours and hours into the Bible, hours into this so-called ancient scripture, but it's timeless, and that's the thing. It's timeless. It continues. It tells you how to be and how not to be. Now, Jesus threw the money changers and the money lenders and all these despicable fucks out. Why are they still today doing usury and shylocking and all this other shit? It's because we have failed. We've failed. And every time we fail and buy into one of their toys or their Oh, look at this. Oh, wow, this could be, you could have this, you could have that. We fail because the money lenders, the money changers, the snakes in the grass killed the superhero, and then they continue to do what they've always done. Try to steal from everyone. Try to steal everything that you have. And of course, as we get further down the road, they have to make you believe in things that aren't real, aren't true. Like your vote counts, and you've got private property, and you can live this American dream. All these things that they've ultimately sat around the table and said, we're going to make them believe this. We're going to keep saying it. We're going to keep restating it. We're going to reiterate it. We're going to double, triple, quadruple down on all the bullshit, and they'll believe it. But, you go back to, the early stages of America where the families, the bloodlines, the relatives of the, European monarchy still making us think that we were independent from them, and we are in no way, shape, or form independent from anything. We are part of this global system. And when Alex Jones sits there and says, they want world government, they've already had it. It's already been here. World government's already been here. So it's a sad state of affairs when you realize that nearly everyone has fallen for the bullshit. Large numbers of commoner morons have fallen for this artificial, corrupted, degenerative reality.
I don't know where all that fucking high coming from. All the highs. I need some lows. Is what I need. I think that'll do it.
Cold Reality Radio here on the UCY.TV broadcasting network. We've got a lot of fine programming coming up today. You're just sitting around thinking about how much bullshit this entire weekend is. And that may sound offensive to some. It may sound very, very offensive to some, but again, I think we have to realize how far we've fallen before we can actually bring back. Actually, even I fall for my own bullshit, because how can you bring something back that never was? How can you bring something back that never was? I guess it's just wishful thinking, hopeful thinking, shit like that. Shite like a that. And just more and more of this just ridiculous fucking just lies and just absolute bullshit. The all these people being recruited by fucking people that chop heads off. It's just ridiculous. I mean, when you see that kind of garbage, it's like, what the fuck, man? Like, what the fuck? When you see that and you realize that's the fucking bullshit media. That's the absolute garbage that they just want to keep proliferating out there. That people just want to join groups that cut people's heads off. It's just an absolute just garbage. But, we still, sadly enough, think that there's an actual enemy out there that's legitimate. Well, there is a legitimate enemy, but of course it would be those who have the power to protect would be the same ones that would have the power to lie about protecting. Hey, chat rumors. So I don't know if who's up next? Rock the Boat with Ron. I don't know if Ron's going live today. I guess it's probably not Memorial Day up there in the Canadian arena. So thinking Ron will be live today. We've also got Hal still up there. I haven't really kept up with the schedule here at UCY so much, but let's see what we got. We've got Rock the Boat. We got the Corbett Report behind the woodshed from 3 to 5 Eastern. We've got Clint, his archives from the Corporation Nation from 5 to 7. Character Matters tonight from 8 to 9. Jay's Analysis with Jay Dyer. The Voice of Rebellion Radio with Chris J. And, of course, live Free FM with Nathan Frazier. Today on UCY. UCY. But, people are in that mode. I mean, I've had, this is day 3 for me. I've got a 4-day weekend. And it seems to be going, even though there's really nothing happening for the most part, it seems to be going way too fast. It'll be Tuesday before you know it. And we'll be into the month of June, heading quickly, fastly and fiercely towards the frying pan. The heat of summer, hopefully, we'll see even more of the fraud that global warming is, where hopefully we only have like maybe one heat wave that lasts a couple days, or like maybe 2 or 3 heat waves that last only maybe, 2 or 3 days. Hopefully that's the case. But if they can manipulate and control the weather, this is the time for them to really kick it in. So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully they don't have that kind of power over the weather. I know that they can. That sounds ridiculous to those who don't understand the ability to control weather, create droughts, and starve people to death just by controlling temperature and storm fronts and shit like that. So it's that childlike mindset that even 50s and 60s and 70-somethings have, or they just continue to be completely disconnected from anything that resembles the truth. Manchester bomber may have been groomed by UK intelligence, EWS, or intelligence WS. Trump sides with ISIS supporters in Middle East sectarian war, and that would mean that him going there and giving $110 billion to Saudi Arabia, who basically trains ISIS and trained ISIS, and along with others in the Middle East. So, I mean, he basically goes there and says, fight them, throw them out, and then gives money, incredible resources to those who, I mean, I'm blown away. I'm blown the fuck away. Secret pyramid in North Dakota you probably never heard of. A cop admits to raping 4-year-old girl at school. No jail, won't register as a sex offender. That's in Houston. Scientists warn corrupt U.S. nuclear industry sitting on a nightmare worse than Fukushima. Of course, that'll wipe out a lot of people. U.S. is killing more civilians in Syria air war than Assad is. New revelations shed light on extent of NSA spying under Obama, of course, but then nobody's going to talk about that. Nobody's going to address that. I don't even believe they're really attacking Trump, but they think this is just the method, the means to an end to really kind of take America and turn it into a just an absolute fire of immense proportion. That's what it's meant to do. Palestinian inmates in Israeli jails and hunger strike. Probably fucking poisoning them anyway. 2 people stabbed to death after confronting a man shouting hate speech at Muslim women on a train. Latest, 23,000 potential terrorists live in Britain. Intelligence shows Brzezinski again dead. The man who trained Bin Laden in warfare, dead at 89. Europe may finally rethink NATO cost. Sure. It begins close Obama ally and Hillary superdelegate convicted of 18 felonies.
One holistic system of systems. I will MK Ultra ya. Put the MK scope on ya. If the MK hits you, it's guaranteed to open ya. The 57mm Mark 110, 220 rounds a minute, try to stop them. Don't put that on your wish list, that's retarded babble. Protesters make the hit list soon as they start to rabble. They are nothing but fishes in the barrel. It doesn't have to be Christmas for a carol. Some decorate with ornamental decorum, some perform Shakana on Hanukkah and Purim. The That's where my job come in. I am a blessing to the mercenary for the corporation selling weapons to them. Any potential competitor step into them. I'm authorized to knock them out and stick a GPS into them. They wanna sell uranium to Iran that's enriched, that's a bitch. They gotta teach us.